or someone would ask me the other day, she's like, what are you going to do when you actually find someone really similar to you? Would you get along? I was like, gosh, no, no way.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today here we have a very special guest, my long-term friend Harry. So I've actually had the pleasure of knowing Harry since when we were 13, 14 in high school.
Yeah, you're right. So it would have been 14. Hey,
Yeah. And so
long
yeah, I've
time,
known
long time.
Harry for a long time, and Harry is actually the master behind our new logo. So
Mm.
just wanted to introduce him. So Harry, we'll start off. How do you psych yourself up before a big day?
Oh man, hitting me with a big question straight off the bat, huh? I like being called the master. By the way, that's cool. So cheers for that little introduction. I made little notes on these questions so that I wouldn't like be umming and ahhing the whole time. So if I'm like darting down to my exercise book, like I'm sorry, I'm just not really. I'm a little bit camera shy, you know. But dude,
Shy
getting ready
boy,
for
shy boy.
soft boy, shy boy. I don't know. Getting ready for a big day, huh? Like, a big day can mean a lot of different things in the big wild world of freelancing. Sometimes if we're talking about like a big deadline approaching quickly, and I just have a lot to achieve in, the space of a few days. Basically, I'm just filled with dread, like I don't really enjoy big days. I really like taking my time. I'm a really kind of
That's true.
cruisy or lazy, whatever you want to call it, kind of person. But I do work quite well under pressure. So when I have those big days, if I'm and I've got to get a lot achieved, if I have the idea already in my head for like what I'm going to do, say like for instance, like I do so much different shit, but we'll just say a logo, because it's the most simple example,
Yeah.
I suppose. So I've got to do a logo. If I've coming up with the idea is the most time consuming, hardest part, deciding like what like the image is going to be like, is it going to be like a symbol mixed with these two letters or whatever? And then once you have that, like, oh yeah, that could totally work. Yeah, I think that's it. You kind of like have this aha moment where you like instantly kind of know that idea is going to work, and then actually making it in, Illustrator, Photoshop, those creative programs on your computer. That's just like a matter of time, and it's not really a difficult thing. Like knowing how to use the tools is something anyone could learn, but just having that idea, that's the hard part. So if it's a big day and I know what I've got to what I'm going to do, like then it's sorted, like. And if I don't have that idea, I can't hype myself up at all. I'm just going to fucking panic and hit my head against the wall.
Do you
So
usually like feel a pressure to put this logo out, or without knowing really, let's say a random client and you don't really know them
mm,
and they do like, hey, we
mm,
want a logo. Do they usually
mm.
provide you with like, at least some sort of pathway to go?
Like
Because
stimulus.
yeah,
Yeah.
stimulus.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes clients oh man, they're tricky people sometimes, like they either have like this really kind of specific idea in their head where they're almost like the designer already and they just kind of want you to make it, and then you have people who have no idea what they want, and those people are kind of the best to work for, I think, because it's just like they put their trust in you to do, say like, oh, I want my initials and this is my business. And I'll, ask them like, what are your values as a business? Well, what do you provide? What do you give to your customer? And I'll try to kind of, symbolize those attributes visually in the style, in the concept that I put forward. Like if a client comes to me and just puts their faith in me as a designer and goes like, hey, I've seen your work before. I love your work. I like your shit. Like, I have faith in you. Just, come back to me with a couple of different versions. That's the bee's knees. That's the best. But sometimes you get those people who are like, no, I want this and I want this. It's like, did you even need me?
Yeah. So I guess going back to coming up with an idea, because like having a creative flair is just not something that many people have. That's why they come to you to create these incredible, thoughtful, sellable things. Do you have anything that you can do if you're just like totally blank mind to be able to get the brain juices flowing to give you something good?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It kind of comes, like those ideas, those like aha moments, like where you work out what you're gonna do. They can come really randomly, but I've found that like there's no particular kind of ritual that I have that can like kickstart those. But I've found when you're exercising, even if it's really passive exercise, like just a walk around the block or even like walking downstairs to make a coffee, like just enough movement to move blood around your body and oxygenate your brain. Like I'm speaking like I know the science behind it, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of what's happening. But like if you just move out of that stagnant kind of sitting at your desk trying to come up with this idea, um, that's when those moments come. But it's really kind of random. I can't say like, oh yeah, I go down to my local cafe and I order my latte, and I just listen to the birds, and then my idea just comes to me. Like it's not like that at all. I don't really have any kind of set ritual. In the shower it comes a lot, like just when your body is like super relaxed. Like yeah, it's strange, it kind of just comes randomly.
I feel like it'd be so different for everyone too. Like, we could
Yeah,
ask another graphic designer and be like, oh, I make a specific juice in the morning and then I'm done and I'm good to go for the day.
100%. Some people have their routines just down, and they thrive off of that regimented organization. I'm not, like, I have a little bit of regiment in my life, but like I'm not like that. I suppose that's why I freelance, because I'm just quite sporadic and like doing lots of different things all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually takes me to the next thing. So why did you choose freelancing over going to, I don't know, like a graduate position?
Because I'm a massive fucking bludge, you know me, dude. Dude, I'm 24 and I still live at home with my parents. Like,
Hey, me
I'm not
too.
I'm not gonna try and like palm myself off as something that I'm not. Like freelancing is like has always been like the goal for me, because it's just you have this flexibility. You at the end of the day, you're your own boss, and yes, you do have to work hard if you're doing it successfully and doing it as a living. But like you choose the hours, man. Like
Mm.
if there's something else in life really cooling, like I don't know, the waves are really good or something, I could stay out there until 12 p.m. The middle of the day, and then work until 10 p.m. And I'm like that. I'm a night owl, so like just having those flexible hours, and as long as I do the hours, like the work gets done, I can work whenever I want, wherever I want, and like the projects just change all the time. You get to see the start and the finish of like a project that you give to somebody else and you put out in the world, and you see people react to it, and you see people get like joy from what you've created for them. Whereas if you're just working for like one company or whatever, you're working under someone else's brand, and you're kind of producing the same content all the time, and there's no kind of like change in it. Like I love it, just like the constant change in it is just like really fun.
Yeah,
Man,
dude.
I know for me myself that I think we differ in this a little bit in terms of like me dealing with not knowing what I'm going to be able to do that day, or like having to juggle like a few different things that require different, time constraints, and you have to handle a couple of other people's, wants and needs. Like, I don't think I would handle that as well as what you do. Is there anything in particular that you do to actually be able to handle, the chopping and changing environment of the freelance environment?
And I know what you mean. I don't necessarily like that part either. Like it is quite stressful. Like I'm going back on my words here right now, but like I like it's a double-edged sword, like it's exhausting and like can definitely burn you out a lot. But it's a skill that I'm still learning. And oh man, there used to be a whiteboard like right there, and I was using that to plan out my weeks, like literally like hour by hour each day, and just be like, 3 hours, if it was still there, it would say like 3 hours T4C project, the 4 a.m. club podcast project, and that would have been like, 3 hours working on the logo. And then like 2 days later, it would have been like 2 hours working on the video for it. And just kind of like, just mapping it out, like I'm not a very organized person, but I'm finally kind of getting those skills together.
Yeah.
And just writing it down like a calendar,
Yeah, I find like having things like up somewhere, even like, for me, a diary works quite well. But if it's there, if you can see it in front of you, like you kind of get a little bit of a better idea. Okay, cool. That'll probably take that long. It's going to take that long. And you can at least
100%.
see, like you can see where everything's kind of due to. So you get an idea of what's more important as opposed to something else.
Yeah, exactly. So true. So true. You get rid of that clutter in your mind where you're like just bouncing between things all the time. Like, oh, I got to do that. Oh, I also got to do that. And I got to do that. And then you just kind of like loop, like if it's there, it's out. You're so right.
Yeah. You get to use your time a lot more efficiently when you write it down. And like, so how do you actually get new clients? Cause you got asked because I reached out to you.
Yeah. Well, that's probably like the biggest challenge of freelancing, right? As you start out, especially, is like just getting work, getting paid, For me, it's been solely word of mouth. I've been super lucky. Like I have so many friends, and sort of they put their friends onto me, and yeah, it's been really organic in that matter. But in saying that, I'm still not doing it full time. I'm supplementing my my income with like another more consistent job, with consistent hours, and then just trying to build up and build up and build up until eventually I can say goodbye to that job and just be a full-time freelancer. That's the goal,
You're on the right path. And I know you were working on like a big project, weren't you? Some music video or something.
Hey, yeah. Well, that's it's kind of been eating away my life for the past like a few months, but in a good way. Yeah. It was this I do like so many different things when it comes to freelancing, like I do everything from, traditional design work, like, your logos and your branding and your packaging and whatnot, all the way to like music visuals that you'd see at like a DJ set and music videos. And that's cool. Yeah. So it's like the spectrum is pretty wide for what I do. And yeah, so one of the things I'm working on at the moment is this music video. And some of your listeners might have heard of the band called the Delta Rigs. They're like a rock band out of Sydney.
I've definitely been jumping around at music festivals in front of them. So
there you go.
That's it.
The death pit.
Yeah.
You don't need an introduction.
No, they don't. The Delta Rigs are big, man. Like that's a pretty big gig. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, well, it's not the Delta Rigs that I'm doing the video for. So the lead singer, his name's Elliot Hammond. He's starting a solo project under the alias Drac Hammond. So yeah, like just by word of mouth, like I sort of found out that they were trying to, put together a music video for his debut single release, and someone just told me to message someone, and I was like, oh, I don't have a lot of experience doing this kind of thing. I probably won't get it, but I'll message anyway. And a couple months later, we're brainstorming together and writing up storyboards, and we just got done shooting like 2 weeks ago, and it was crazy, man. It was like the biggest thing that I've done, like directing a video with just a small team, but like that's the beautiful thing about my work and freelancing is it's just always different, and I get to try so many different things, and that was like one of the funnest things I've done. So yeah, stay tuned for that one.
So you were the director of it. You weren't just like a little part of it. You were like
No,
the one
yeah.
calling the shots.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was sick. Hey, I loved it. So I like, you know, listened to the single and took on, you know, the sort of vibe they wanted to go for and a couple of the visuals they wanted, and then just went away and drew this really detailed storyboard to sort of show them my concept and how I was going to work in their ideas to it and everything. And they were like, yeah, sick, awesome. And then it just kind of became like, okay, well, okay, we're doing this now. Okay, I guess we need like an actor for this person, and we need like makeup, and we need wardrobe, and we need like all these props, and then like I need like a lighting assistant if we're gonna do it right. And it just kind of like snowballed into this big thing until they were like, yeah, Harry's the director, and I was like,
Oh, you're like, what?
shit, yeah, I am.
Did you
So, yeah, that was dope.
did you feel, have you ever heard of imposter syndrome?
I have. I think I know what you. Yeah, yeah. Do you want to elaborate on that?
So imposter syndrome is pretty much when, say you're in a role and you feel like you're very, you know, not qualified for the role. So you start to feel anxious and, you know, a bit of dread. Did you feel that at all, or?
I love that. Yeah, for sure. Like in the I always knew I could do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken it on. Like when I have like a vision in my head, I'm like, yeah, that would look sick. And it's just a matter of working out like, okay, it needs this, and like just putting all the pieces together. But like in the week or the 2 weeks even leading up to the shoot date, when, you know, we had a makeup artist booked and an actress booked, and like it kind of expensive things locked in, like I was like, oh fuck, like I'm in over my head here. I haven't done this before, you know. Like I got like ulcers on my tongue, and like the corners of my mouth started cracking from stress. And then within 2 days after shooting, all those stress related symptoms just disappeared. It's just crazy how you know, your mental can have such an impact on your physical state. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean that would have been quite, and you know, it's the definition of being thrown in the deep end. Something that you kind of understand, but you haven't done before.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. 100%. I feel like a lot of people have probably been there, you know?
So in terms of actually building up your mental resilience for the next really stressful project, you know, let's say, I don't know, you get some big artist coming and asking you, hey, you did a great job on that. You know, come help us with this. And you're like, oh my gosh, hang on. I'm jumping from like, you know, being a small fish in a small pond. And then you're going to be in this giant ocean filled of sharks and you're a little tadpole. Like how,
just there with my little video camera.
Like how for yourself do you work on, or will you work on in the future, your own mental fitness?
Man, I think, you know, you pose these questions to me like I have it quite figured out. Hey, but really I'm just like learning all these things and sort of how to train myself and take care of myself. Like stress and anxiety, it's like a serious thing. Hey, like it takes such a toll. And you know, I tried getting into meditating for a while. And you know, and like most people like dropped it within like 2 weeks or something, just because, oh no, I don't have time. But really, like, it's just, you know, sheer laziness. But just like consistency, like making sure to like eat at least semi right, and cut down on the drinking, cut down on the naughty stuff. Keep surfing, keep doing like your physical activity. Like I think it's like pretty simple stuff, and you know when you're doing right by your body. I think like you don't have to be like ticking the boxes like, okay, I have done physical exercise 4 times this week and I've eaten this many tomatoes and this many cups of kale and shit. Like,
yeah,
I think you just kind of like know when you're doing right by yourself.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm doing that.
It almost sounds like to me, it's like, just don't break your usual pattern. Like, you know what makes you happy. don't forego that just to try and sacrifice more time for this other thing that's really stressing you out. Like, I find for
100%.
me anyway, like if I stop doing the things that make me happy, my quality of work drops down. So even though like my time working might actually it feels like it shoots up a lot. Like the quality and the efficiency of the work just kind of plummets. And then you kind of, I don't know about you guys, but for me, like you just kind of end up sitting at the table being like, oh my God, I've been here for hours and nothing's happened. Whereas
Straight
opposed, like
up.
if I had got out for like an hour, I'd gone for a run and just, I don't know, just totally forgot about what was stressing me out. I come back, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's party. Let's get this shit
100%.
done.
100%. That stubbornness can definitely kind of infect you, where when you haven't, like you say, when you haven't like produced any content, you're like, no, like must not leave until I actually have put pen to paper and produce something. And you're like, you're just forcing something that it really isn't meant to be right now. Like go and fix yourself. Like you're so right.
Mm. So in terms of other people, let's say another young adult, you've taken some brave steps in the world of freelancing and designing. Someone who hasn't taken those steps yet and hasn't landed their first like, semi big gig first off, getting it ticked off and done. What would be your
Sure.
best tip of advice to someone who's trying to follow down the same path as you?
I thought of a couple of things. Like practical advice, supplement supplement your freelancing with a consistent income. And if you can find a job that uses your talents, like latch onto that. Like I've been really lucky and started a job recently, producing, design, doing design work for another brand. And it's just 3 days a week, which is perfect, which means that I can still work on what, my little passion projects and my freelancing. If you can do that, amazing. If not, like just keep that bar job and do that, that bar job or that retail job, and just grit your teeth and get through those hours, those, 3 days, 2 days a week, or whatever it is that's just going to get you by. And just enjoy like the flexibility you have when you're starting off young. Because I feel like that's when the funnest projects are, like when you're young and when you can kind of, like your mates approaching you because they want like, some t-shirt designs for a cool little brand they're starting out, or like some cool logo designs, where you have like real creative freedom to have fun with it. And that's why you're doing it. So that should be enough motivation. And then like on the mental side of things, like, if you're doubting yourself, and it is quite daunting, and you're like, how am I gonna, you don't have that path in front of you to know like how to grow and become successful. It is kind of in the dark. Like just remember like why you're doing it, and know like, you're the shit. You're good at what you're doing. If you're starting out freelancing, no one would try and freelance if they were like, oh, I'm not very good at this. Like, just remember, you're fucking good. Like, that's why you're fucking doing it. So like, just believe in yourself and know you are hot shit.
That's right. No, you're hot shit.
Yeah, I like that. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yes,
There you go. You design
Hot
something even
shit.
in the middle of a podcast.
New slogan.
Light bulb.
Shit.
So Harry, I know like obviously freelancing, you're working with so many different people, and I can imagine you'd meet some challenging people. So
Oh yeah.
how have you dealt with that?
Challenging people. I think I've just learned from past clients that haven't been great clients, and have just chalked it up to experience, and thought like, don't dwell on it. Just remember what you've done. Remember the red flags about this client and why you shouldn't do that. Take up a client like that next time, or change your process so that things are a bit more clearer next time. Like it often comes down to how much work they're trying to get out of you, and for how much money you've quoted them, because people expect a lot for not a lot of money. So what was the question again?
It was how do you deal with like difficult clients, I guess.
Difficult clients. Yeah. yeah, just communication is like the biggest thing that I've learned. Like from the get go, talk about money. You know, work out a price before you go on with it, and you know, actually write down in your quote and stipulate what you're going to do for them and for how much, so that if they start being like, oh no, change it more and more and more and more, you can be like, hey, look, it's gonna, you know, it'll cost more, and you have that all in writing. Yeah, just covering yourself really, because it's you're one person. You don't have like this company or this team behind you that can be like, you know, we are a business. It's like you're just this small fish. So you got to cover yourself. Communication, it's a big thing.
I can imagine that so many people would have this perfect idea in their head, and they come to you like for some reason, yeah, like you said in the beginning, like why don't you just do it yourself? But I get the feeling some people like will get very attached to whatever they've had in the past. Like
Totally.
I know for me and Leroy, like from when we started the podcast, you know, we made our own little first little logo, and it evolved a little bit, and you know, like there was definitely like that little bit that sentimental attachment to something that was before, and
100%.
in you know like you know it took us a while to be like, oh, like yeah, like we should change, like, oh, but we've had this before, like it works, but we had this thing designed by someone who knows what they were doing. And as soon as we kind of got that ball rolling, we were like, oh my God, I can't believe we were hanging on to this idea that ours is like good in the past, like trying to start comparing them to each other, like,
Yeah.
holy shit, are we blind? Like literally.
Ours look like the Simpsons, the other family, like the scribble version, compared to this one now.
Oh, holy shit.
So I guess that
so
would just give you a bit of an example of what some people could be like, and they could just be like, oh, that's not the quality that I was after, just because they have this
Yeah.
previous attachment and just resentment to actually want to change something that may or may
Yeah.
not have
Yeah.
worked for them in the past.
Yeah. 100%. Like you're so right. Yeah. Do you freelance? Like it's, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. People can be very sentimental like that, and really kind of sold on their own vision. But what I liked about you know, you guys was, you know, you just said you know, do your thing, but could we just still have it the same green? And it's like, yeah, amazing. That's just like, you know, that's one element that's gonna be super reminiscent of the start of the 4 a.m. club. You know, it's always been that color, or your fonts and your logos and stuff. So it's like, great. That is an element that I can easily incorporate in this, and that's going to link it to your past. But you didn't say like, oh, it needs to be this and also this. Oh, and can you make it fucking sick at the same time? It's like you just put faith in the designer. It's, you know, it's my job. So yeah. So I appreciate that. Good clients.
Good client. Yes, we passed.
Yes.
And so, Harry, in terms of your own development of your own skills in freelancing, because from what you said before, there's a lot of different things you can do. Are you actively working on developing these, or are you just more sort of developing them while you're doing your roles, your
While I'm
different
working.
projects?
Yeah, good question. As my time's becoming less and less free, it's just learning the skills on the projects that I'm working on. But yeah, like whenever I have free time, I feel guilty if I'm not working on sharpening my skill set and trying new ideas. So like I have a bunch of little creative works and stuff that I've been working on in my own time, and that I just get to kind of, you know, when I actually have a bit of free time, I can go back to them and keep working on them and that sort of thing. But at the moment it's been pretty busy, you know, so, which is a good thing. So yeah.
I guess that would inevitably work on all of the extra stuff. So not necessarily the design work, but the time management, the stress management, the client management, all that inevitably gets worked on just by doing it.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you know, when you're dealing with real life people and people's money, you want to be really good at it. So you do try really hard. So, you know, working on those skills in a professional sense, you know, it definitely helps a lot to have that added pressure of like, I've got to do this well. And that definitely improves your skill set pretty rapidly.
Mm.
And in a fantastic world, where would you want to see yourself in 30 years' time?
Damn. I really want to be like a name in my field. You know, I want to be in demand to the point where, you know, I'm no longer seeking people out and people are like, oh, we should get Harry Corcoran to work on this. His work is dope, you know? And I don't know, you know, because I still haven't really specialized in one particular thing. You know, I think my life's moving more towards video and film. I think that's kind of where I want to be. But yeah, I couldn't tell you for sure. I just know that I want to be sought after in my field because what I'm doing is really good. And, you know, I have my own style and I'm set apart from the rest. That's like, that would be amazing.
Mate,
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. And like when you said video, I think that's even so true. Just going back to when you used to make your skate videos, all the videos you made all the way through high
Yeah.
school. I know you've
Yeah.
always had a passion for videography, especially. And you know what? I really don't doubt the ability to for you to be a big name in 30 years' time.
Thanks, man. We'll see. Hey.
And yeah, it's just the fact that, you know, taking this plunge, you know, so young, such a hard step that not many people do it. You know,
Yeah.
just going for it during this little phase of your life, I think gives you a little step over everybody else. Like everyone else is going to kind of hold out. They kind of wait for the perfect time, and it doesn't come, or it comes too late, and they haven't been able to work on that specialty skill for the amount of years that you're lining yourself up to have for. So I think, yeah, you know, being able to do something that lines up so well with all your hobbies and everything that you love to do, you know, you do it because you love it, and that
Yeah,
in
100%.
itself is what gives you that competitive edge.
Yeah, I it's really nice of you to say that. Like I often feel like, damn, I'm the slow one. You know, you see so many kids who are just already crushing it, you know, and they're like 19, 20 years old, and you're like, shit. Like I feel like why I'm working quite hard now is because I feel like it's getting late. You know, like make it now or don't make it. So it's quite comforting to hear you say that.
Man, because like sometimes it feels like grinding away is something you're passionate about. Sometimes it, you know, you can lose sight of why you're doing it. You know, sometimes there isn't, you know, those big rewards that other people might have, and the time commitment can be huge for what can be work that sometimes no one sees. And I think from personal experience for me anyway, some of those people that, you know, that we might look up to being like, man, they're killing it, they're smashing it at the moment. You know, I think that they might be the ones, you know, quietly keeping to themselves like, man, I'm not passionate about this. I just like the fact that everyone thinks that I know what I'm doing. It kind of, you know, back and be like, man, I wish I was doing something that I found really, really fun rather than grinding away from 9 to 5 and, you know, drinking my sorrows away on the weekend in a fancy
man.
ass suit.
These are all thoughts that I have like all the time, you know. It's just like each to their own, you know. And that's that kind of things not for me. But you're right, like you know, what you see that other people portray, like you don't really know if they're enjoying it or not, you know. Like it's everything's so subjective, and gauging someone's happiness is, well, like, and finding your own, it's a tricky science. Hey.
So
tricky.
It's becoming even easier to fake it now too. You know, social media is this incredible tool where you can live a completely alternate life in terms of what your life is actually like. And
Straight up.
you know, even your good mates can see, you know, only that surface value. And yeah, I think it's a hard thing to do, chasing your passion, but I think it's so important to give it a red hot crack as soon as you're in a place to do it.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, that's literally it. It's just like give it a red hot crack, and then like if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, and that's fine. But like you've got to give it a red hot crack, don't you? Like if you know you've got something and you're like, like lots of people don't have that kind of thing in their life that they can be like, oh, you know, my dream is to have a career in this. And that would like, I think that would be really fulfilling and make me quite happy. But not a lot of people even have that. And not a lot of people even give that a crack. So it's like, if you've got that, like, you know, that desire for something like that, like you should give it a good go.
And I find when you're pursuing your passion, you have this energy, this drive. So no matter like what sort of fallbacks you get, you can always keep going forward. And it's just uncomparable to be honest. And you got to follow your passion, people.
Yeah.
Totally. You're right. That, that resilience that you get from your passion. It's so true. So true.
And so, Harry, while we're wrapping up here, how can the listeners see your projects, get a hold of you, get in contact with you, DM you, whatever, you sexy man? How do we reach you?
Just, you know, via my email, which is hcorcoran96@gmail.com. But like to see my work, there's my Instagram, which is Harry_Corcoran. It's just my name. And my website is harrycorcoran.com. You can see all the pretty stuff I do.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll make sure we chuck it up there. So the rest of the
Cheers,
world,
boys.
well, they already get to see all of our amazing logos and our design work.
Yeah, I hope is the little intro vid gonna be at the beginning of this one?
Yeah. People will have watched it before they get in there.
Whoa, that's crazy. Oh, are we gonna roll the outro clip as well?
Yeah. Oh, maybe if we time it well enough.
Oh, you guys are in for a treat.
Maybe me and Lyra will design some little stick figure one and roll it up. Just
a Simpson version.
It'd be like a big old.
Just to fuck with me.
All right, Harry. Thanks for coming on the podcast. I'm sure we'll tune in again with you in like maybe even 6 months, 3 months, just to see where you're going on this journey.
Yeah, 100%.
We're excited to follow you.
I love talking about it. So yeah, cheers. Like, really appreciate you boys letting me chew your ears off.
It won't be the last time.
I hope.
All right, see
you later. Might be the last time at like a rational hour of the day, maybe.
Yeah.
3 a.m.
4 a.m. club, baby.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Well, thanks, mate. Right, we'll catch up with you soon.